6:17. A motion to approve the agenda. Moved by Councillor Kim, seconded by Councillor Gilliland. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, using the tabulator? No. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Delegations. 1, Giselle Bodkin and Andrea Noss from BDO Canada LLP regarding item 1. Ladies? I hope I said the names right.
Oh, thank
There
you,
you go.
Andrea. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Thanks for having us. We're just going to go through some graphs of your municipality for the last 5 years and highlight a couple issues on the financial statements. And Andrea's just going to go through the results of the audit. So if you I can turn your attention to the screen. I always say a picture tells 1,000 words. So just so you understand this, the blue graph number is your total revenue. That's all the money you bring in. So the first thing you might notice is, why did our revenue go down so much? So in those years, you were bringing in a lot of revenue for TCAs and DCs. And if you can see your expenses, you were generating surpluses in order to pay for your capital assets. So probably a better graph to look at is this graph. So this shows you your surpluses, that's the cash you're generating, and the red line is the capital assets that you're spending your money on. Okay, so you can see in those years that 2015 and 16, you're bringing a lot more revenue and spending a lot more money on assets, and it's slowed down the last couple of years. So net financial assets, just so you understand, if you know what working capital is, when I get to the statements, I'll show you that. But that's all your cash, receivables, minus your payables and your debt. So you can see you have 77 million of good financial assets. Now you might say, so that's showing that you're a healthy town. Some towns are negative. And you could be negative in 1 year if you went out and spent 80 million on your roads. So what you really have to look at is your capital asset budget for the next 5 years. Make sure you have the money in there to cover those expenses. And because there are some municipalities that they'll be going along with these huge financial assets, and in 1 year it can be wiped out. So this is historical, what you have sitting in assets right now. So you can see it's kind of built up over the last few years, and really this money is going to be used for probably mostly TCAs. So a lot of people say, well, what's my surplus? So you can see your accumulated surplus is 537 million. But of that, 459 million is TCAs. So most of your surplus is in TCAs. And see the difference between the red line and the blue line? That's that 77 million, which is money in the bank less your payables. Okay? These graphs I just give you of, where was your revenue coming in 2013 versus now, and you can see that there was a lot more in user fees and DCs because you were building and putting money into infrastructure. And let's flip to this one. And this is how you spend your money as a municipality. And you can see these pie charts are pretty much the same as 5 years ago. It's just kind of to show you that there hasn't been really too much changes in your expenses. Your story has been the changes in the money you're bringing in and the money you're spending in capital assets. So I'm going to turn it over to Andrea. I'll get to the financial statements and then I'll take some questions later. Andrew's just going to tell you about the status of the audit.
Thank you. So as of today,
Don't worry about that.
Fire alarm?
oops. So as of today, the audit is substantially complete. However, we have to audit up to today, so we do have to do some updating. And for our audit findings, we didn't find any issues during the course of our audit. We were provided full cooperation by management, and they gave us all the information that we needed in order to perform our procedures, and we didn't find any issues during that time. We tested journal entries for potential unusual items, and we didn't find any. Moving on to fraud discussion, we have to have that discussion every year when we come and present to you, and this is actually I say it's a discussion, but it is your opportunity to bring forward any issues or any concerns that you have in the terms of fraud or any suspicious or illegal activities. So this is your opportunity to bring those forward to us.
Seeing none.
That's good.
Thank you. In terms of internal control matters, so as part of the audit, we do look at the internal controls that management has in place to safeguard the accounting records and the assets, and we did not find any deficiencies in the internal controls during our review of those controls through the course of our audit. In terms of other required communications, this would be where we would bring forward any issues that we had, any disagreements with management, which were none, any independence issues, which we don't have. The BDO Canada and myself and Giselle and our team, we are all independent of the town and their employees. We don't hold any financial interest or any positions here, and you're not our sole clients, so we're not dependent on your fees. Also, in terms of other required communications, that would be any unadjusted items that we found during our audit, and that there were none. Every adjustment that needed to be made was made to the financial statements. Did anybody have any questions on that slide in particular?
Well, we'll probably just wait till the end.
Or wait till the end. Yeah. So we're already, of course, thinking forward to 2019 because it was decided that it was better for you guys if we just met with you once a year and to discuss, the past audit and the upcoming one. So the engagement objectives would be to provide an audit opinion on the consolidated financial statements for 2019, just as we're doing tonight for 2018. That's our responsibility. Management's responsibility is to prepare the financial statements and to provide all the information we need to complete our audit, and the audit committee's responsibilities are to oversee that process and to appoint the external auditor. Audit strategy, we don't foresee any changes to our audit strategy from the prior year in terms of we'll look at the various risks, and we'll substantively audit all the different balance sheet items and the income statement on a sample basis. Our materiality threshold will be, as of now, it's a preliminary number, of course, because it's for 2019. So we're looking at it being similar to 2018 at $2 million, which is an average of your expenses, about 2%. And audit timing, we foresee that to be the same as for 2018, that we will come out in December to do our interim work, and then final audit in April, and then a year from today, we'll be here again giving this report. So then I'll turn it back over to Giselle for the financial statements, which are start on page 17 of 79.
Yeah. So you can see these financial statements are very thick, and I'm not going to go through each page and bore everybody with the statements. So you are on page 17 of 79, which has our audit opinion. And the audit opinion used to be one page last year, but the Institute of Chartered Accountants made it 2 pages.
It's actually page 16.
Oh, page 16 of 79. So basically, it's a clean audit opinion. So whenever you get a set of audit statements, always read the auditor's report to make sure it's a clean audit opinion. So if you can go to, where is that? Page is that? Okay, let's start at the audit. Oh, okay, yeah. All right, there we go.
Yep.
Oh.
Sorry, we'll move
Yeah.
along. It's actually, if you want to move along to page 32 is where the numbers start. 32 of 79.
So does everybody have that in front of them? Okay, so see the financial assets, which is right at the top of the page. You can see there's 162 million in 2018 and 151 million in the prior year. And if you go down to your liabilities, there's 84 million this year and 69 million last year. So remember the graph about your financial assets, like in a perfect world, if you paid off all your debt, you go down to the bottom line, net financial assets, 77 million, and last year was 81 million. Okay? And so that is money for the future that you're saving in your municipality. And then down below, you can see that your tangible capital assets, 459 million, and last year, 453 million. So bringing your whole surplus to 537 and 535. So if next year you were going to spend 100 million on tangible capital assets, you would be a negative 77 million, or negative 30 million, or whatever it is, yeah. So you're nice and healthy at this point in time as a municipality. Page 33 of 79 is just what happened this year from the audited financial statements. Some of the items that your treasurer would give you as far as being on budget and being off budget, I don't want to say she has different numbers than we do, but we have to do it based on PSAB reporting, which is not always municipal reporting. So a long time ago, you used to expense all your assets, and that's kind of how your budget is done, money in, money out. For whatever reason, the government came in and said, we want every municipality to capitalize every asset and put it on your balance sheet. So that's why we had to go and put 500 million on there. And they want every municipality to do the capital asset management plan and depreciate these assets, and so you know when stuff is going to happen. So basically, there wasn't really any significant changes in your revenue from this year to last year, 91 million versus 92, and your expenses went from 86 million to 89 million. So again, you had a surplus and in the current year operations. So all the rest of these statements, like if you could go to maybe page 34, I'll just address that for a second. 34 of 79. So we start with a surplus of like 2 million this year. Last year was 5 million. We add back depreciation of 14 million because it's a non-cash item. But then we deduct the TCAs of 17 million and we deduct other assets. So that's why it was negative 4 million on your cash this year, and last year was positive 4.7 million. You can see you were budgeting a 15 million surplus, but that again depends on what you're going to spend and how much DC revenue you can bring in. So I'm not here to talk about operations because I just do the audit. That's for your internal accountants to tell you how you're doing, but I'm here to audit that there was nothing wrong with your information that we looked at this year. But I just wanted to add that you seem to be a healthy municipality with your 80 million of current assets. So then there's a whole bunch of notes to the statements, and I'm just going to highlight we didn't really change any of the notes that we had last year. So there's nothing for me to really highlight in here. If there was some significant item, I would bring you to the notes. But you can read those at your leisure. And of course, always email me or question me if you think of something after this presentation. So that's all I wanted to present, and I'll open up to questions.
Thank you very much. Council, are there any questions to the presentation? Councillor Thompson. It's to the report. Sure. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you again for being here and for all the years that you've come. In each of the years you passed, you've included audit committee best practice recommendations, looking over previous ones, as well as again this year it's on page 62 of 79 of our report, page 58 of yours as attachment 1.
Yeah.
I'm just interested to hear from you whether you've seen any of these best practice recommendations that you continue to make being implemented.
Yeah. Do you want to answer that, Andrea?
Well, we of course only meet with you once a year. So in terms of your best practices, we're not, we haven't found any issues. And in terms of like, are you receiving the information that you need to do your job is really the question, and we would really want to put that back to you to see if there's anything else that you need.
And I'm fine asking staff, but I just thought
Yeah.
whether you noticed any of the recommendations that you continue to make being implemented to make things better, easier.
Yeah, I think if you look at that, like the first report is the committee should receive monthly financial statements. Well, we don't know if you're receiving monthly financial statements. I'm assuming you are. So some of these things we don't know, but we are testing the controls on this side. And this is just to say, here's some oversight, and maybe you want to communicate that to staff if you're not getting certain information that's in the best practices.
I'm happy to ask the staff the same question. I just thought I'd get
Yeah.
your opinion on it first. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.
And just before I leave, I just wanted to add a couple things. So a couple things that BDO and other people are doing is getting a cybersecurity review. So I was just at a council meeting last week, and as you know, there are some municipalities that have lost money because of cyber attacks. So it might be in council's interest to put something like that out to tender and get a cybersecurity review. BDO does do that, but I think it would be wise. The second thing is procurement review. So BDO right now has done a couple procurement reviews for the N6. I think it's, I was trying to tell Rachel, it was either $2,500 or $5,000. I can't remember how much it cost. But they give you a report on your procurement, and they score you. And then you can check it with Stouffville or some other N6. So if you're interested in that, I'll give the information to Rachel, and you can decide what to do. But I just wanted to tell you that's some work that we're doing on top of the audit for some of our municipalities to help protect their assets in the future.
Thank you very much. Council, we have an item. We have to receive the presentation. Sorry. Yeah, motion to receive the presentation. Moved by Councillor Gilliland, second by Councillor Kim. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Item number 1. 2018 audited financial statements with audit report. Someone like to move this? Councillor Thompson, second. Councillor Gilliland. Comments or questions on the report? Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. Through to Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel. I know you're relatively new on the job, but and perhaps you can come back to us, but in looking over the best practice recommendations that are within this report and have been shown previously, I'd be interested to know whether we've implemented any of them in the last year, or whether or not you looking over them, you see some of them that you would like to implement between now and the next audit report.
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'd have to get back to you
Yep,
on
that's fine.
that, but yes, we would take a look at the recommendations that are included in any audit report along with any of our own findings, and we would do continuous improvement on these items and try to make the overall financial health of the town much better.
Councillor Thompson.
Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Councillor Gilliland, seconded by Councillor Thompson. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. We are adjourned.